Hello, everyone. My name is Theotrex, and today, my friends, we are doing what may be the single most important review on this entire channel. Because today we are taking a look at the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, releasing last week. Five Nights at Freddy's is based off of a little-known indie game called Bendy and the Ink Machine. I'm kidding, obviously, but this movie is. This movie's been in the works for like 8 years, which is nearly a decade at this point, and um, where do I begin, dude? Like, where do I genuinely begin with this? This movie has gone through development hell, and it got a director, loses a director, gets a script, loses a script, gets a producer. All of this switches and switches. It's like the fact that this movie came out is probably one of the greatest things to have ever happened. So, as you may notice, I'm a bit of a FNAF fan. Oh, you can't even see Springtrap, can you? Shit. There he is. Um, but as you may notice in the back, I am a bit of a FNAF fan, and Five Nights at Freddy's as a series is something that meant so much to me growing up. And so here's how I got into it. Here's the story of how I began. Five Nights at Freddy's. I saw the second game on my sister's laptop, and I played it. I scared my I fucking shot myself because I was scared, and I also got a nosebleed. But I played that game for hours and hours and hours, and then I went down the yellow rabbit hole where I would watch Smike and Dawko and a bit of MatPat. I was never into MatPat that much. I watched the Markiplier gameplay videos. I watched so much of Five Nights at Freddy's. I consumed so much of this series. I listened to these songs religiously growing up. Um, they were stuck in my heads from like all that shit. And I even watched the Tony Cry Night animated series as it was coming out, and I paid attention to that Random Encounters musical. No one's there, someone's there. Like I fucking love that shit growing up. And if you couldn't tell, again, by the insane amount, this is the most amount of props I've ever had in the background of a video. Like you can't see them, but this series means a lot to me. Let me put another image up here, real quick. That's uh okay. Hold on. Technical difficulties. All right, now we're back. Hi, Nightmare Freddy. You're going back right there. Shoot. Let me move Nightmare Foxy out of the way. Sorry, Foxy. But so, how was the movie? How was this movie? I was a bit scared to go into it because of the reviews, and honestly, I walked out as happy as a puppy. This movie was fantastic for me, a FNAF fan, and something that people are going to have to realize is that this is a movie made for Five Nights at Freddy's fan. If you're not into the games, or if you don't really care that much about the series, just don't go watch the movie. Like, if you've never played the games and you're interested, look up some of the lore. The biggest issue with this movie is that it's not newcomer friendly, which is a bit of a shame. But, yeah. This is a love letter to the Five Nights at Freddy's series. But if we're going to be judging it on how much of a movie it is, I think that's where it struggles. The horror atmosphere, as a horror movie, that the atmosphere which the game kind of had, I think it's just completely gone. There was a few good sequences in this movie, and I do think this movie does manage to be effective in that regard, but the jump scares and all of that don't really seem to didn't scare me that much, which I know is an argument you could make about the games, but still, the overall story for this movie was just kind of not there. I guess the main plot is that Mike has to work at I think at night. I'm kidding. He has to work at Freddy Fazbear's, so his sister doesn't get taken away by his evil aunt. He also experiences these dreams on how his little brother went missing, and he tries to use this to find out where he is. The movie spends more focus on the dream stuff than it does on technically the Freddy Fazbear Pizzeria lore. Also, sorry if it's like wobbly. I have a different stand and all that. I definitely think that was one of the bigger issues with this movie, was that it didn't really go that well into Freddy Fazbear's like origin. It's like freaking Darth Vader. It works within the context of the series. I do imagine. The thing is, this storyline is something that I imagine Five Nights at Freddy's will be in, right? It's a cool concept, saying that you remember every little detail that happened in your life, like every single thing, and that you can experience them in dreams. It's also another reference to a famous theory that's in the Five Nights at Freddy's games, the dream theory, which, if you guys don't know, fucking broke the entire community for a bit. This movie is filled with Easter eggs, and the way the set is designed, the details in the back, you can tell the people behind this movie cared for what they were making. You can tell that, even if they may not be FNAF fans, you can tell that the people behind this movie cared for what they were making. The lore handled, I think, I like how this is an interesting argument. So, over here, I have Five Nights at Freddy's The Silver Eyes, which I do plan to reread after this movie. In fact, you know what? Where's my fucking backpack? Oh, it's right here. Right there, in my backpack. I'm gonna have to go fetch that later. Fetch! Oh, shit. Oh, that's up there. But, all of this, it feels to follow more of the Silver Eyes, with a sequence with Foxy near the end with the arcades. That was pretty cool, and another scene. I think, yeah, I think the lore here is handled pretty well. They do something with Mike and Abby, and they kind of twist your expectations here, which I'm not sure how I should really feel about that, honestly, considering it is such a massive part. It's something that I have conflicting feelings on, to pretty much put it. The acting, in my opinion, was pretty alright, was pretty good. Abby does a good job for a little kid actor. I think she definitely played up that weird, lonely kid who just wanted some friends idea, although it did seem a bit stereotypical of oh, I'm a friend and I have imaginary friends, for horror. But I guess it works within Five Nights at Freddy's. Josh Hutcherson, you know him as PETA. I know him as the guy from Zathura. Does a great. I think he does a great job. He goes for that sort of Ryan Gosling, literally me approach, where where I think he's more so sad and he's struggling. I think I definitely loved the relationship between Mike and Abby. They definitely felt like real siblings, you know. Matthew Lillard, dude, where are you? Where is he? Where is he? This guy, Matthew Lillard, Shaggy, fucking Stu Macher. This guy chewed up every scene that he was in. Oh, zoink, Scoop! I think I got control of the purple man. I think. Hey, hair, can you not fucking do that? I think this is possibly one of the greatest. He chews up the scene every time he's on screen. He is such a fantastic guy. Just in his role as William Afton is great. There is a few issues that I just wish he was in this movie more, and there is something that I get. I guess this could be considered spoilers. I guess the twist at the end that William Afton is Springtrap. the thing is, they've been saying that this movie is strictly for FNAF fans, yet they play off William Afton as someone you're not supposed to know is the killer. I think the biggest issue with that is that we really do not. William Afton's name isn't even dropped until like the climax of the film. We are. I guess you could come to the conclusion that Steve Raglan is kind of up to something, but as a mystery, it's just really not there. I'll get more into that later. The animatronics, I think, looked fantastic. Their movements were so energetic, and the Jim Henson company did such a fantastic job with these animatronics. Although, I think Bonnie looked slightly off. So yeah, right here, I don't know. I think it's because in the games he is more presented as purple than he is blue. Yeah, that looks weird. That looks weird because that's my main issue with modern body designs is that they seem that first of all the modern yeah, that's sort of my main issue with um I think he looks fine. It's just a bit weird considering he's purple in the original game. Not a big deal, just looks sort of uncanny, I guess. Foxy, for being the only actual animatronic, meaning that like they had to control him, like he's not a suit you could wear, which I find that really ironic. Considering that was the main issue with the game, with some of the suits in the games. I think these characters were also handled well. I like the more child and cuddly nature this time they have around, where they're more like curious and they just want to have fun and they don't really want to hurt you. They just want to play around and have fun and all that. It makes sense, but I like how they made them act more like kids. And also, um, so they mentioned in this movie that that Bonnie is the most aggressive one, and while he does get a really cool, all right kill in the movie, what was his issue? Dude was like, Chico just like throw him out at like everyone in this movie. This motherfucker was like a chihuahua. You let a chihuahua off the leash, and this is what you get. Also, Foxy was fucking horrifying in the movie. Um, but going to the theater experience, it was fantastic. It did get a bit too loud at points, but the joy, the energy, and this isn't just some disrespectful group of teens in the movie theater. This is this was a crowd of fans who were excited to see this movie. They did get a bit too excited about every little thing, but when things such as a certain cameo showed up, everyone yelled. Everyone yelled and screamed and was so excited. And when a certain kill happened, we were like, "Oh shit!" When Spring Bonnie made his entrance, everyone was cheering. It was just such a lovely experience for all of us around because this is a theater full of people who've been waiting for this movie for years, and I just think that I'm not saying be rowdy, be loud, but I do think that this was such just. No, let's talk about the PG-13 rating. I have a lot to say. It did not affect the movie that much. There was no universe where this movie was going to be rated R. You guys if some of you guys wanted this movie to be rated R, and oh my god, you guys are so fucking entitled and spoiled. The movie is finally out, and you guys were upset that this movie wasn't a big Saw level gore fest. Guys, Five Nights at Freddy's is not a gory franchise. Yes, the spring locks is brutal. Yes, there was all that. But the most gore we've ever gotten in this series was off screen. Was either off screen or in pixels. So, yeah, dude, why? And seeing this, it's such a petty thing to get mad at because this is a teen franchise. This is this is a teen. You know what I just fucking realized? I'm sorry, I get distracted. I should have set them up like this. My bad. Hold on. But yeah, you guys expect, um, you guys were expecting this movie to be some big Saw level Terrifier gore fest when it really was not that. I see people saying, the movie should have been more like the VHS tapes. I'm gonna be honest, those Five Nights at Freddy's VHS tapes is why I hate analog horror. Not well, hate, but I just don't like analog horror because those VHS tapes has ruined your perception on this series. And I'm gonna make this just segue into spoilers, okay? Let's talk about the spring lock scene, and this is where you come into play because I'm gonna need to quote this, okay? It was cool seeing the spring lock scene finally happen in real live action. I think one thing that's always kind of bugged me is just what the spring locks look like, and I'm glad that we were able to get an actual look at them. Seeing them go into his body and then seeing him twitch and not scream. He doesn't scream, but like it looked like he was in pain. And and his iconic line, "I always come back," did sound a bit too fast, but I think it's because it's two different people saying it. But some of you guys prove yourself to not be fans of the series, and I'm sorry to gatekeep, but it feels like I have to fucking gatekeep. But some of you guys say, "Oh, he should have been screaming." Let's see. Let's see. Where is it? Where is it? Trying to find it. Okay, here we go. So, right here, it's mentioned that you'll try to scream, but you'll be unable to. Your vocal cords will be severed, and your lungs will be filled with your own blood until you drown in it. Also, by the way, look at this artwork. I'm just gonna read the book again. But as I was saying, it makes sense. First of all, it makes sense why there's no blood. Because he is being pierced and impaled. So, like, blood wouldn't fly out. If those spring locks were to come out, then, yeah, blood will fly out everywhere. It's more realistic that way. Also, again, fucking PG-13, guys. PG-13. And two, like I just mentioned, William tells Dave that you cannot scream, which I know it's possibly why he rushed out the line. Another theory about why he didn't really scream is to feel more powerful because, he's standing in front of all these guys. He didn't want to scream, and so he wanted to be like, "I always come back." Yeah. Another thing you guys don't seem to get is the fort scene. The reason they did this, the reason why this whole fort scene exists, is because the animatronics are possessed by dead kids. Keyword kids. I'm enough patronizing fake fans here. Just a little rant. Some of you guys are so fucking spoiled and entitled. We finally got this movie. You guys are bitching about this movie not seeming like non-canonical VHS tapes that don't even follow the fucking lore. Anyways, let's talk Easter eggs. Right off the bat, Matt Pat. Dude, the thing is, I'm not a big Matt Pat fan. I don't watch his theories. And I don't watch Matt Pat because I just, I like to create my own theories in my own little head, and if anyone disagrees with me, you're fucking wonk. His cameo was so fun. Let's also talk about this diner scene. So there is a plot line where Jane wants to get custody of Abby, and it kind of goes nowhere. But it does give us one of the best characters, Doug. What was his fucking issue? What has he seen? Oh my god, the horrors. Corey's cameo was great, and everyone cheered for it. I thought Corey was really funny in the movie, and I liked the little post credits that he got. And Sparky. I've seen some people say, "Oh yeah, that's Fetch." I get it. Some people may be new to the franchise, but dude, this is Sparky because Fetch is way too small. If Fetch were to have a cameo, it would have to be in the prize corner. And it's just so cool to see this Five Nights at Freddy's myth, this legend, finally here in front of our face once and for all. It's so cool. Shadow Freddy, that was really cool. I wonder how Shadow Freddy and Shadow Bonnie are going to be incorporated into the future. And the Springlock suit is Ella. I actually don't have that book, but I thought that was cool. Although I did say it looked more like a baby, and they were trying to shove Abby into it. Because funny, Abby is an anagram of baby. Elizabeth Afton. Oh shit, they're not related anymore. Yeah. So the twist here is that William Afton is Vanessa's father, possibly erasing Michael and Elizabeth Afton. I don't mind this twist. Obviously, they're going to switch things up. I mean, Michael Afton and the Crying Child weren't even in the book series, as far as I'm aware. I don't know how to feel about the erasure of them, though. So here's my theory. One, unlikely as hell. Michael and Vanessa are related alongside Abby, therefore just adding one more member to the Afton family, changing the Bite of 83 thing and whatnot. I think that theory is pretty dumb. It's one that I came up with by myself, but one that I'm coping with here is Vanessa has a Michael and Elizabeth, which is a bit weird for her to have a brother named Michael when she knows someone named Mike. But I think they're having Michael and Elizabeth pretty much just putting one more member into the Afton family, because she never mentioned having a brother or sister, which I know could also deny this theory, but also doesn't outright shun it. It doesn't confirm it. I'm pretty much, if they wanted to, I feel like they could shove Michael and Elizabeth Afton by saying, I had a brother, I have a sister, I have a brother, and another issue I had was the lack of Fredbear's exploration in this movie. So we know Spring Bonnie is technically the main villain of the movie, but there is zero look into the actual backstory of Freddy. There's no mention of Henry. There's no mention of Fredbear. He has to exist because you have Spring Bonnie. Why would Spring Bonnie be here? And also, the bite got removed. Or did it? Dude, okay. So, in the middle of this movie, there's a scene where Max and a few other people go out and trash Freddy Fazbear's, right? Carl gets attacked by the cupcake, and that has to be a fucking reference. Carl getting attacked by the cupcake Carl. That has to be a reference. Also, he was wearing a Midnight Motorist shirt. That was pretty cool. Hank was pretty funny. But Max's death, dude. Fucking chomped in half. Dude, that was that the bite of 87? I feel bad for her. I mean, she seemed nice enough, and she never even got a ring, but dude, that was a fucking bite. But yeah, I don't really mind the change that Vanessa is Afton's kid. If anything, I think this is their way to paying homage to the character of Vanny from Security Breach. You remember her, right? The main villain that showed up once, twice, was supposed to have a much bigger role, was supposed to have a meter. Yeah, all that. Yeah, her. I think they could set up Vanny later in the series if they really want to skip that far ahead. Now let's talk about the post-credits. One, they did it! We're waiting every night to finally Roman invite newcomers to play with us. They fucking did it, dude. I'm so happy that they played the theme for the song. Also, and now the second post-credit scene, actually, another Corey cameo. And the balloon joke I actually found was pretty funny, and he didn't actually look that bad. Now, I've never actually seen anything happen in a movie before, but so through if you stay to the credits, you hear the music change to the puppet's music box. And so, and then at the end, you hear "Come Find Me" in the same style as the mini games "Help Me" or "Help Them" or "Save Me" or whatever, hinting that the puppet is going to play a vital role or is in this movie. There's a screenshot of this movie of the puppet being behind Chica, which could be three things. One, this could be the genuine puppet. It looks like the puppet, but it could also be the stage light. And it could also just be an endoskeleton, since I think the endoskeleton was on set. But either way, this this music box confirms a sequel with this gal in it. My idea is that they could possibly do the toy animatronics. I know we're going a bit off the lore. So the toys could be the new animatronics after these ones, and I guess they could rework these guys into wizards. I guess, God, fucking look how beautiful they are, dude. That's God, yeah. Um, maybe turn the animatronics into the wizards, possibly. I don't know. Either way, I think Springtrap could return, and the puppet is going to play a massive part of the sequel, possibly having Garrett possess the soul of the puppet. And another thing I want to get into, Golden Freddy. Not mentioned in my script, but I think the way they handled Golden Freddy in this movie was really cool. I like how the main kid that Mike talks to in these dreams is Golden Freddy. And I think his design is really cool. It's distinct enough from Freddy to where you can say, yeah, that's Golden Freddy and whatnot. And I think his role in this movie was pretty cool. I really liked his role, and I definitely like how they made him a ghost, where he just kind of disappears after. Because, that's technically what Golden Freddy was. Now, another theory is that Mike's father is, in this timeline, Henry. This is a theory that I have about this film because there's some evidence backing this up. One, Vanessa going to Mike in the first place, which I think that's actually part of that's actually, never mind. That's just part of William's plan. I just remember that. And two, William stuttering when he realizes the name is Mike Schmidt. I think this could be him remembering Garrett, or this is him seeing that last name and be like, oh shit, Henry Schmidt. That's the guy I worked with. I think this would be pretty cool. It's a great theory, but again, it is just a theory. A film theory. Well, that's it, guys. Five Nights at Freddy's is honestly everything I could have asked for. It has flaws, it has issues, but I've been following this movie for around 8 years as someone, I don't know. I've been waiting for this movie for 8 years. I've been loyal to this franchise for so long, and in the end, I am satisfied. And I love this movie. And fuck it, Five Nights at Freddy's, out of the way, Foxy, for me, is going to get an A. Glazing, yeah, whatever. I don't give a shit. Happy Halloween, everyone. Sorry if I got a bit. I didn't really get too emotional in this review. This series just means so much to me that I can't judge this thing fairly. You know? This movie was made for fans, and while it has flaws, you can tell there was genuine love and passion for the project. And I want to say thank you, Scott. Without Scott Cawthon, then I don't know where I would be in life for right now. He had created some of one of the biggest parts of my entire life and childhood, and this is possibly going to be the last thing that Scott is going to be connected to FNAF. Scott always seemed like a great guy. He did a lot for the community. He listened a lot to the community. He may make a few mistakes here and there, but I'm not gonna list. I don't care whatever view he may have, if it's not like fucking kill everyone, you know. And yeah, so Scott Cawthon, man, he is. Thank you, Scott. Anyways, next review is probably going to be Loki. I have to catch up on that, or the Marvel, or whatever. Until then, see you on the flip side.